don't know what it is about seeding, but I think you'll find if you have seed on the ground, it always seems to attract these huge storms. I think that was probably last night our worst storm of the summer. Got around 2 inches of rain in an hour or so, but it was super windy and everything is blown over today. So I'm going to take you along here and check out the lawn, what it looks like, and show you kind of the difference between the blanket area and the non-blanket area. So first and foremost here, I am extremely impressed with this blanket, and especially with the slope here that I was talking about. If I did not have this thing in place, I can guarantee you that this would all be down at the bottom right here, and it would be a huge mudslide of a bunch of stuff. So I'm really glad that I decided to do that. Now the time will tell here on how much germination comes through it compared to maybe not using one. So pretty much everything in our garden took a beating as well. These tomatoes right here aren't too bad, but once we get over to this area right here, you can see pretty much everything's laid over. Same goes for these sunflowers there. They caught the wind pretty good. So here you will see what happens with peat moss. It's too light of a material to really hold itself in place. So it just ends up coming down, washing out, and you get a big spot there of a bunch of mix of stuff that you're not even sure what's really seed, what's peat moss. You can also see here, all of this little soil area here had peat moss on it, and most of it has washed into the blanket. This is now pretty much all bare soil again, which I'm going to need to cover up in order to probably keep it going. The reason that I don't have the blanket covering this is that these are my sprinkler heads right here, so I wasn't sure if it was going to be easy to come all the way across there and cut that out. I probably could have done it, but it's also a good test to show you the blanket versus the non-blanket right next to each other, and kind of what we get for germination, what we get for how it looks here as things start to grow in. So I'm always doing the testing so you guys don't have to. Alright, here it is out here. This thing took probably the most beating of all. All of the peat moss is gone. I hardly see any on there now. And I had this thing completely covered yesterday. Now it's all completely washed away. So I need to make a decision now on really what to do with it, because the problem that I have is I just don't know how much seed is actually still there. Of course, I did rake it in a little bit and roll it, so there could be some a little bit under the surface, but yet it's hard to really tell how much is there and how much more I need to add. I'm gonna have to make a decision here coming up on trying to just see if I want to put more seed down or wait until maybe a few days yet before we're kind of out of the window of worrying about some major storms again. So I'm kind of going back and forth on that one. And then also, if that seeding blanket continues to look like it does, I do have a little bit left. I probably could go ahead and try to cover some of this again with a blanket as well, and maybe I would have a little bit more success. But I got to watch the weather and kind of see what that's going to do coming up. And just, it's the thing that happened with seeding, is that you just are always playing games with the weather and always trying to make a decision on, is your seed still there? Is it still germinating? Is it just gone, washed away? It's kind of it's a difficult process, and one you just have to keep at until you actually start to see some grass growing. So just don't give up. Got a pretty good storm, and take a little look here. This thing looks pretty good. It's kind of all sucked down to the ground, and I think we got maybe a little over an inch of rain. I gotta go check the gauge, but looks pretty decent. All of the peat moss over here that was along the edge is pretty much washed. Let's go look at the front here, and also I'll go check the gauge a little bit and see what it looks like. So we've got 1 inch and quite a bit here. 1.7778, somewhere right around in there. So no wonder things look the way they do. You can see all these little kind of rivers running through here. Now it doesn't appear that the soil is really washed away too much. There's maybe an area right down in here where some of the leveling work got a little bit out of whack. But so that is a tour of what's going on right now with lawn renovations, seeding. You just never know what's going to happen with the weather. You can pretty much expect that at some point you're going to get a heavy rain, you're going to have to fix a few things, and that's just kind of how it goes. So okay, now I know this is going to be a little bit hard to see, but right there is a new grass plant, and we've got a few more just starting to pop in here too. So they are extremely small, but you will see them every once in a while, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty happy with the blanket. So we had another storm again. That's 3 storms now that have pretty much washed out the whole front area, but let's take a look at this side yard and see how this blanket is held up.